Today on the Winning With Shopify podcast.
I quit my job in 2016.
Sometimes I've seen the best business ideas, but I don't trust the person at the helm.
That's like one of the challenge of growing fast.
Suddenly people are like, I know how to tie my shoes up.
To reconnect with the person and try to understand why she haven't bought after she bought 20 pairs.
If somebody's thinking of running a Kickstarter, what's your advice to them?
We had one pair of shoes to start.
Look, I'm so bored of all of this. Just cut all of that. Just put the simple thing out. Get the new site live. And we'll put more money behind advertising if we have to. And it was the best decision anyone have made. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Winning With Shopify podcast. If you never tuned in before, my name's Nick. Such a pleasure to have you listening to today's show. I've got a bit of a sore throat. I don't always sound quite like this, and if I cough at all, I'm very, very sorry. If you haven't already, check out the website, sign up to our newsletter, engage with some of our sponsors, and if you've never heard one, I've started doing little tea break Tuesday talks, or a different arrangement of those words, on a Tuesday where we share some of the Shopify news, learnings from the agency, and other bits and pieces going on across the business and across Winning With Shopify and our community. So check those out on Tuesdays. These episodes with our amazing guests and lots of brands and some of our sponsors always happen on a Friday. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by a very special guest. Her name is Myriam Maguire, and she is from Maguire Shoes. So Myriam, without further ado, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And Myriam is more organized than most of our guests, because a lot of our guests don't give us that much in advance to ask about. Myriam's given us loads. So I'm so excited to get stuck into the nuts and bolts of your business, how you guys got started, where you are now, and some of the strengths and weaknesses and some of the challenges you guys have faced across that as well. But before we start off, you obviously sell shoes because it's in the name, but tell us a bit more about what you guys do, what your Shopify store looks like, some of the products you sell, and where the products are manufactured, where they're from.
Yes, so Maguire Shoes is a brand I started in 2017 with my sister. It was really small at the time. We had one pair of shoes to start, and coming from working in footwear, so I used to work for the Aldo Group, which is a pretty big company, and I was a footwear designer there, and I would go to Asia a lot to shop to visit the factories, and then I would shop shoes around the world, and I would see that there was a lot of shoes under 150 and a lot of that were like mainly made in Asia, and then there was a lot of shoes over 500, 600, I would say US dollar, that would be made in Europe, and there was nothing in between. So this is what with the rise of a lot of DTC business, I was like, okay, I think there's a way to do original design made in Europe in small batches and sell it for a reasonable price. So for me, I was looking to be in between, let's say $200 and $400, where there's not a lot of shoe brands and a lot of products. So this is what we do basically. So I quit my job and then I went in Europe to look for factories. I found some great factories that produce high-end shoes, and I sell them for a more reasonable price than my competition that produce at the same place. And this is, I think, what have been successful for the brand.
Amazing. And so many brands I talk to, they just sort of go, I'm really into this product, so I'm just going to sell it. I love that you've done some research and you've even worked out, and I wrote down to 150, around sort of $150 up to sort of 300 to 500. I love that you found a niche in that range in the middle, because it must give you such a laser focus when it came to launching that first product range. You say you started with one product. How quickly did it become a range of products? How quickly did you start to actually expand the SKU lines?
Yeah, so for 2 years, I worked part-time. So I would say, like, I quit my job in 2016. So from 2016 to 2018, I was consulting for someone else that wanted to launch a footwear brand to help him find factories. And then at the same time, I would work 3 days for this person and 4 days for my own business. So I think we opened a small store in 2018, and this is when I quit my job because I had to be full time at the store. And then when we launched the store, we had two products, and then we had, I think, 4 samples. And then when people would come in, I would say, oh, these are sold out in your size, so we'll get a restock in 3 weeks, which was actually the day that my production was arriving. So I
Nice.
would tell
Yeah.
people, I would put their name on a list and then email them when the product was in store. So for until 2019, we only had like maybe six product, and we were running on that. And one thing we did is we did a Kickstarter for a winter boot. And I'm based in Canada, and Canada is really cold. So with this Kickstarter, I think we raised $30,000, and that allowed us to kind of buy more stock and take loan, because we had kind of a test that did well, so we were able to get loans after that. And then from there, I built a bigger store in 2019, where I had a full range. But then what happened when I had my full range in 2019 with the new store, the factory shipped everything and they told me, we're closing tomorrow, we're going
Oh
out of
no.
business.
You
so
finally
uh,
got the full
so
range and they closed.
yeah, so
Oh,
we had to find a lot of new factories. So we went in Europe, my sister and I. I think she was like 7 months pregnant when we went to Europe to get more factories, and
yeah.
we found now we work with 8 different factories. So this way the risk is spread. So if there's one that has to close, we have
Yeah.
7 others.
Amazing. Okay, this is my favorite and most exciting part of the show. There's 20 things I could ask you. I'm exaggerating. There's 7 things I've written down that I could ask you right now. Let's talk Kickstarter first. I think that tends to be a really hot topic in our community, and something people really focus on. So you had one product, a few other products coming in, and you had a waiting list of people for those products. How did you make Kickstarter, or how successful was it, and how did you make it that successful? Like, if somebody's thinking of running a Kickstarter, what's your advice to them?
I think for us, it was successful because of the product category. I realized that a lot of people put shoes on Kickstarter, and for some people, it's a business model. So it looks like there's people launching shoes on Kickstarter. And
Yeah.
like when you see the amount of orders, they have like something like 20,000 orders. So it looks like at this point, it's just a business model. So I think it's a
Mm.
category people are looking a lot into in Kickstarter. So if you're launching a product and you see your category is popular, that's a good indicator. And for us, because we're based in Quebec, it's like at the time traditional media still existed in Canada, because now, because of conflict with Meta, Canada wanted to add tax to Meta, and then Meta blocked all the traditional media from their platform.
Yeah.
So it changed our landscape completely. But at the time,
Mm.
traditional media had a lot of power. And I think someone in traditional media mentioned our Kickstarter, and it really took off. But we also did sales in the United States that we didn't know they were where they were coming from. So I think it's a mix of local push, and Quebec is really close. Like people kind of the information travel fast because we're like a French state in Canada, and we have our own media,
Yep.
our own community. So I think that really helped to kick off the project. So a mix of traditional media exposure and a popular category on Kickstarter.
Hey guys, I just want to take a moment aside from today's episode to introduce one of our amazing sponsors, Cavella. They are the all-in-one platform that helps you design, sample, and launch your product lines. Cavella are helping Shopify brands save up to 40% on stock costs thanks to their smart, streamlined supply chain. That means more profit for you, less costs, and loads of time saved in trying to get stock on your shelves. Right now, you can fast-track their waiting list and get 50% off your first sample order just by using the code WINNING at checkout. This is an exclusive offer for Winning with Shopify podcast listeners. Just go to the link in our description or in our bio to unlock the savings and skip the queue. You build your brand, save on stock, and step into the future of e-commerce with Cavella. That code again, WINNING. Back to the episode. Amazing. And did you have to make much content for Kickstarter? Like, did you guys create a video and some photography and other stuff to explain it? Or was it just, here's a really cool product, click here to buy it?
Yeah, so we did a video, and at the time, the factory was in Canada. The winter boot factory
Okay.
was based in Canada, and I worked with them in the past. I think it was my first job. The brand is called Pajar, and they still have a
Hmm.
factory in Canada. So we did a collaboration with them, and we were able to film in the factory the process of the boot. So I think people like to see the actual factory and us
Yeah,
talking.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And I think that story as well about being in the French state of Canada, the factories nearby. I mean, I haven't mentioned this at all yet, but you've said several times about your connections in your previous jobs. So you know how to manufacture a good product, you know where the factories are, you know how to work with these guys, and you know how to operate. And a lot of brands that start out, or brands that have been running for ages and then want to launch a new product through new suppliers, they find it really difficult to do that. So actually, your competitive edge, in a sense, or one of your competitive edges, is not so much here's a really cool USP to the customer. It's actually we just got great products because we know how to source great products. I know who to phone. I know how to work with them. I know how to get what I want. I know what's going to cost. And so I think that's obviously been so powerful to you in your journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I think for us, what was successful is that we work with factories that it's really hard to get in. So they need to give you a chance because they produce for like
Mm.
the biggest brand or the
Yeah,
nicest
yeah.
brand. So they don't really want to take new customers unless they see a future. And I think
Hmm.
the fact that I work at Aldo for a couple of years, a lot of factories I've worked with Aldo, the owner of Aldo in the past, because they used to produce in Europe. So they would tell me, "Oh, you work with him? Okay, I know
Yeah, yeah.
him. We've worked together in the past. He used to have a business that was producing in Europe." So I was able to make a lot of contact based on people I know in the shoe business. I even had like someone in Spain calling my old boss that was from Spain right in front of me and asked to make sure like to give me good
You are
reference
who you say you
basically.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really
Amazing.
small knit industry, so when you know
Mm.
people they make you it they trust you more because they know like in this relationship we have to kind of trust each other to send the money. So like I need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
send sometime $100,000. So if they don't trust me, like they won't do my production because they're
Yeah,
gonna
it's a
think
big
like
risk
she
for them,
won't.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a big risk for them. It's a big risk for me. So it needs to be like on common ground. So a lot of
Mhm.
these bigger factories gave me a chance when we were tiny and our quantity were really small because they saw potential. And also when you work in shoes, you know what kind of silhouette sell, what doesn't sell. So they
Mhm.
trust that you're gonna make good design and you're gonna have good result because what they want repeat orders because this is where they start making money. Once they start repeating shoes, like the molds are open, the die cut are open, so they can just like
Yeah.
it's more profitable for the factories when you do a repeat order. So this is always what we aim for.
And there's certainly a lot of that in any walk of investing, I think, or people, whether it's the factory investing in you, you investing in them, or even a financial investment. People buy into the person running it. It's like, do I believe they will do a good job? Do I believe they know what they're doing? Sometimes I've seen the best business ideas, but I don't trust the person at the helm. Or I say, this is all great and you've got a fantastic idea, but I don't see a way you're going to execute this. I can't, you don't have any history doing this. You're going to make so many mistakes. I'm sorry, I don't want to be involved. As a marketing agency, we get so many people approaching us saying, can we do a joint venture instead of just having you as our agency? And I've been sucked into too many of them over the years. So I completely understand that sort of relationship with the factory. If they start building molds for something and you order one of each mold and that's it, you do your samples and then nothing else, it's been a massive waste of their time when, as you say, they could have been working for one of the bigger shoe manufacturers. So I think it's really important to make sure you've got that supplier relationship for sure. And it's not just in the product production, it's in, I'd say, all suppliers. But I mean, that brings us up to about 2019. So you then had the full range in 2019. How much have you guys evolved over the last sort of 5.5, 6 years since 2019 then?
I think we evolve in like the range of product we're offering because we're producing in different countries. We were able to add, let's say Portugal does a lot of winter boots. So we were, and
Mm.
Italy also, we found a factories that were doing very light winter boots.
Nice.
So like we were able to source different type of heel, different type of construction depending on the place where we produce. We were able to find a place in Spain that do very affordable sandal so that in the
Mm.
summer we can have a part of a range that is priced a bit more reasonably. Especially in the northern countries, people like the summer is 2 months and a half, so
Mm.
people won't invest like a crazy amount of money in sandals because they only need them for a few months. So we were able to
Mm.
like find a like to improve our range of product, and we're still doing it. So we were looking for a factory based in Europe that makes sneakers. And when the tariff happened in the US, we didn't want any product to be made in China anymore because we only had
Mm.
one sneaker in China. So we found recently a factory that will be able to do sneakers in Portugal. So we
Yeah.
were always like looking for also what's trending, and sometimes our factories don't have it, so we have to find a new factory.
Um, Something you just mentioned that I do want to touch on that, which is I think is really interesting actually. You mentioned about the factory in China. I When I was younger, I used to hate it when people described business success as luck. When people say, "Oh, you've been so lucky," you start getting all these, and you must have the same. You start getting these flashbacks of all those sleepless nights. The how am I going to pay this invoice? How am I going to cover this tax bill? One of my staff members has just screwed up, and I need to fix it. Or, there's a mountain I have to climb on a daily basis, and somebody turns around and says, "Oh, you've been so lucky," and it's like you've no idea how hard I've worked. But actually, with the China situation of supplying products from there and everything that's been going on recently, that is one of those rare scenarios. I'd say actually you have been lucky, and I said the same in COVID. Being a digital business over here, we were lucky. Like that was luck. I couldn't have planned it that way, but we did okay during COVID. It was terrifying, but we did okay. And so it almost sounds like a beautiful accident that there was only one product out there that because had it been more Europe US focused, which it looks like it's the stuff bubbling at the moment. We won't talk about that, but it looks like that there's a few bits and pieces going at the moment. But I mean that's fascinating. How many SKUs have you guys got at the moment then, or how many product lines are you guys running?
I think we always launch like by season. I think we have around 30, 40 styles. So I would say
Okay.
it's like around 120 SKUs. I would
Mhm.
say we try to keep it minimal and but still offer a range. So with shoes, what's nice is we have a lot of repeat customers. So if your customers bought some heels with you, they can buy a flat or they can buy
Yep.
sneakers, especially women. Like I think the average woman will buy 4 pair of shoes a year. And once they find a shoe company they like and they find comfortable, they will often come back to you. So that's what we're trying to build. And I mean, I think I forgot the question, but yeah,
It was how many
yeah,
SKUs, but
yeah, we have
yeah, yeah,
we,
yeah.
and then recently we feel that what we need is a bit more depth in our buys. So we need to put more quantities in the style that are selling really well because we're often sold out, and that's like one of
Okay.
the challenge of growing fast is that at some point you ran out
Yeah,
of inventory, but you don't want the customer to get tired of it. So we're
yeah.
actually working
You
on
also
our
don't want to
assortment.
overinvest while you're small as well, do you? Because that's a risk. If something sells out, you restock it really quickly and then they stop selling, or you restock it on the 1st of October and it's like, right, we've missed the season for sandals, as you said earlier. So there's risks on both sides, aren't there?
Mhm. So we prefer to be sold out because we don't have any sales. So that's a great thing, like to not be in markdowns all the time. We
Yeah,
do
yeah.
two sample
Amazing.
sales a year and we're able to get rid of extra inventory, especially in shoes. You can get in a situation where you have 4 pair of 36 and that's it, or 7 pair of 40,
Mm.
but nothing left in the other sizes. So you cannot
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
running ads on these styles. So yeah.
Yeah. The Canadian and American sizes is so strange here in the UK. Because when you say 40, I imagine a shoe that's like this big. If someone's looking at it, it's about 2 foot, is what I imagine. Because in the UK, like size 5, size 6 is like the most common women's size. It's just the different sizing systems. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating just to hear how the range has evolved. So, for each season, do you change almost the whole range then? Do you almost kind of say, right, that's all last season now, and perhaps that's what your sample sale is, and then you move into new season? Or do you have kind of evergreen lines that are always running?
Yes, so we have kind what we call our essentials that are
Mhm.
always running. Like every year, I think they're gonna that's it. It's gonna be over. People won't buy
Yeah.
them, but they keep buying them, so we keep
Nice.
restocking. So we have, I think, usually in our normal store. I was talking with a buyer for a big store. She said it's like 85% bestseller and 15% novelty. I think for
Yeah.
us, we're at 40% novelty and 60% bestseller.
Mm.
And then we're still trying to figure out if it's the right thing because we're constantly bringing new shoes. They're sold out. Then we're bringing new shoes. They're
Yeah, yeah.
sold out. So we're still trying to find our balance, I would say.
It just and that bit takes time, isn't it? And we talk so much on the podcast about the understanding the customer. And actually, if the customer comes to you because they want the everyday essentials, it'd be too easy to get. And again, I said to you earlier about shiny objects. I get so distracted by business opportunities and could change this, try this. So I certainly sympathize with you with looking at the new ranges and going, wow, this shoe's amazing. Let's start selling more of these. But then if you don't reorder some of those essentials, and as you say, it's 60% of the business, and it can be such a frustration to suddenly find that those sales disappear. One thing I want to touch on though, which is amazing, is your 5 times a year for some of your better customers, the higher lifetime value ones. 4 orders a year per customer is amazing. My question really is, how do you attract customers? Like, what is your marketing strategy as a business? What channels work for you? What messaging works? What products? If we put that product in front of people, they just buy it, and then we can start emailing them and talking about other products. What's the strategy behind customer acquisition?
Yeah, so quickly in the business, when we were small and we only had a few products, we realized that every time we did a pop-up, we would get sales online. So every time
Mm,
we had like in-person exposure, it was creating sales online. Because otherwise, if you just have a website, it's hard, like, and you're starting and you don't really have budget for ads, it's going to be hard to convert. But like when, especially for shoes, people likes to try them at least once, so they see the quality
hmm.
overall of the product, and then they feel confident buying online because they already have
Yeah.
a pair or they've been to the store. So that's why
Mm,
quickly we open a store. So when we enter in a new market, for example, Montreal was our own market. So at first it was like our friends and family. So for a long time we were able to trace customer. It's like, oh, this girl, she looks like she's friend with a friend. So that's why she's buying.
okay.
Or, we were
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
at first we were able to track every customers that we had, and then suddenly we were not able to track them. We didn't know where they were coming from. But when we enter a new market, so after Montreal, when we opened in our hometown and our friends were
Mhm.
buying and friends of friends, then we opened in Toronto where we had a few friends, but not as much as in Montreal. So we realized that the first thing is you build a store. So you have a physical presence, whether it's in wholesale or your own store. So for us, it was like our own store. Then people, just by being on a good street, people will get in and buy your products. So your store will be
Yeah, yeah.
break even at least. So you're not losing money with your store when you're entering the new market. And then
Mhm.
this store will create more sales online. So then you partner with influencers that are local that will bring traffic to your website. So let's say the local influencer are coming to your in-person opening, the local journalists as well. They talk about you, and then it brings leads to your website, and then you can retarget these people with online ads so they don't forget that you exist. And then you go from there, and then you build from there, and then more people that comes get targeted. But I would say, like, so first step is like in person, something in person. Second step, influencers to bring traffic, or local journalists to bring traffic to your site. And then after that, retargeting with online ads. And then it grows from there. So right now, let's say Toronto is a pretty big city. Montreal is still doing better in terms of store sales, but Toronto brought more sales online in the rest of Canada that
Nice.
we would have had if we just stayed in the French part of Quebec, because there's also two
Yeah, yeah.
languages involved. So you have
Mm.
to
True.
be in like two different markets
Yeah.
with two different languages.
As someone in the SEO world, trying to explain to Google that we've got two languages in the same location is a nightmare. Because then Google's like, "What language do you want us to show?" But thank you so much. I mean, you've just made my whole career sound so simple. How do we acquire new customers? And I love that really simple view that you've taken it with. We open a store, people know who we are, then we get some local influencers, then we start retargeting people. Now we've got a brand. Now people know us. I think shoes, though, and you'll know much better than I, surely with shoes, the sizing is so important because all your weight is physically on the product and it's on your foot rather than. I mean, we've literally just got some new hoodies in the office, which we bought our own hoodies and then we're going to get our logos and stuff printed on them so we can buy. Because we found whenever you get stuff printed, it's always low quality. So we've bought really good quality t shirts and hoodies for the team. And we're going to get our own printers. They've just arrived so everyone can try them on. But with a hoodie, I mean, if the difference between large and medium or small and large is negligible, isn't it? It's, do I want it tight? Do I want it baggy? But shoes have to be perfect, or you're going to get blisters and all sorts. So you guys, I think you've explained that really well about the fact that somebody wants to try the item on. So you could almost map that, like, okay, this person has got these shoes in this area. Now suddenly we've got 2 or 3 more sales popping up in that area. those people must have the same shoe size because they've all ordered size 400 or whatever whatever it is in Canada compared to the UK. But you can kind of see that starting to grow. I love the way you guys are just building this brand of the good quality products people want to wear, and therefore they come and buy them. How do you, looking at 2025 then, how do you guys keep growing that without just purely growing your store footprint? How do you get that sizing across on the website so people go, it's a really great shoe, it's comfortable, it's stylish, it's worth the money, it's more expensive than the cheaper stuff, it's not as expensive as the premium stuff, and it's going to fit me well? How do you get all of that across on the website without somebody buying 4 sizes and returning 3?
Yeah, so we noticed that in the market where we have stores, there's less return than in the market where there's no
That's
stores.
fascinating.
Because like
Yeah, expected, but
as
really interesting.
yeah, as soon you add one touch point, you're able or we're able to also help you online. If you already have a pair, we know how it fits compared to other pairs.
Yep.
Because I remember when I work at Aldo, someone spent a year trying to standardize the sizing, and then it didn't work. Like they spent like an entire year trying, because we had different
Yeah.
factories, and it didn't really work
Yeah.
because like each last is different. If you have a pointy shoe, it's not going to fit a
Mm.
large foot the same way as like a round toe shape. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really have to try to a certain extent. So what we decided to do, like we look at app. I know like in my past job they did studies, they try everything with factories to like normalize like the size of the last and the size of the shoes, and I'm sure they improved the situation. But what we decided to do is we'll have different like fit model, if you want, that will write their honest review about sizing on our fit note. So in the new website now, we're redesigning
Mm.
our website to put a better place about fit. Like the fit right now, it's hard to find on our page.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to redesign the website so that we have an employee, Charlotte. She's a size 38 and she has like an average foot and she's going to try everything. But we want also a persona that has a large foot and an high arch, that try the shoes
Mm-hmm.
and say, this one is not for me. Like this one doesn't fit.
Yep.
And I feel like on the website for clothing, when I see a girl and it says she's 5'7" and she weighed 150 and she's taking this size, it helps me to be like, okay, I'm just a
Yeah.
bit taller than her. So I think it's going to fit me well. So we'll do the same shoes with the foot size. So we're going to put the length of the shoes and the, um, yeah, so we'll put the length of the shoes and give as much information about our foot so that people that have a similar foot can take decision. And we'll do that with different sizing and different width also of feet
Mm.
so that people can like have an idea. But it's a big problem we're trying to solve right now.
Do you ever find that in your warehouse you have dead stock? You can't sell it, no one wants to buy it, and you can't get a refund on it? Or alternatively, you're missing inventory in your warehouse that you need. You've got sales coming in and you're low on stock and you haven't ordered more stock in time. All these things hit profit, and I've been there. I've run my own Shopify store and had exactly that problem. But we've partnered it up with Inventory Planner, who have the most incredible app to help you manage that and forecast exactly what products, what SKUs, even down to what color of product you need to order in advance to make sure stock levels remain consistent throughout. They're also running a 7-day boot camp, and if you want to go and sign up to that, it's 7 emails over 7 days, and it takes the same amount of time as your morning coffee. And in 7 days, like me, you can become an inventory management pro. Both links are in the description. Enjoy. I'd be interested to talk about customer service in a minute, how you deal with that side of things. But I love the example you've given of, well, the example of giving an example and saying this person is this size, this weight, etc. I've certainly bought stuff on stores before where they've said this person is this size. I normally then Google it to say what's that in centimeters, because although we're in the UK and we use imperial, metric is
Yeah.
still the obvious one. When you get to 100 or 1,000, change the name. It's very simple. I don't know why the UK and the US, we're so obsessed with miles and chains and stones and all sorts of random things.
But so we work with both because Canada is like
Yeah,
the UK and the US is different. So we have to work with both
of course.
units.
And France will use, the French will use metric as well. So they'll be using
Mm.
centimeters and meters, which is fascinating. So, yeah, I mean, I love the example you've given, and and thanks for sharing just how simple the approach is. It's going to be quite complicated now. I imagine there's going to be lots of designs, and we need to get it absolutely right and test it before we have the right version of it. But better the devil you know than the devil you don't, I always say on websites. Once you know that, okay, this is the problem people are having. But how do you deal with it prior to your new site going live, and we are going to talk about that in a minute because we said we want to talk about your new website before we hit record, which I'm very excited to hear about. How do you deal with all the questions at the moment in customer service? Like, do you guys use AI chatbots? Do you reply to everything yourself? How do you manage that process, especially when there are going to be so many questions about the product?
Yes, so basically, we have someone full time in customer service that answer all the question because we have question coming
Mm.
from Instagram, from Facebook, because we still
Yep.
have like a old Facebook page where people ask question. So we have question
Yep.
coming from all direction. So we have someone that does it full time, and basically we involve this person on the new website to try to fix the issue before she get questioned. So this
Good.
way,
Yeah. Yeah.
like we're hoping that it's going to reduce the amount of question and she can get involved in like other type of project. So that we're working on at the moment to like with the redesign of the site, she might have less emails so she can do other things and work on fit with us and work on like all kind of different like project. So I think it's going to make it more like effective for the company overall. So every time she has the same issue over and over again, we fix it. So every week she give us like a report on what product she got like
Oh,
problem with.
perfect.
Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
there's a strap that always break on a product, we're able to fix it, or we're
Hmm.
able to warn customers that they cannot. So what we did one time, we had a shoe that people were not attaching correctly and it was breaking it. So we sent an email,
Right.
an automatic email to everyone that bought the shoe to explain them
Hmm.
this is how you have to tie the laces with a video. So it solved a lot of the problem. Now we don't have this issue with the customers because they get an
Amazing.
email that explain how it works. So all of these fit issue or problem, sometimes we're able to send an automatic email to customers to kind of address the problem
Mm.
before.
I think, I mean, that feedback loop between your customer service person and the product developers and marketing, having all of that tied up. I mean, as you guys grow as an organization, it's gonna be hard to keep that communication so lean. But certainly at the moment, I mean, that's such an advantage. We find it so often, whether it's in B2B sales and actually like in B2B companies, for example. I know some of you guys listening are in B2B e-commerce. But to give you an idea, that the sales team that answer the phone and take the leads and try and sign a contract or sell a car or whatever the lead or insurance, whatever the lead might be, that team of salespeople, the ones that actually speak to the customers, send the proposals and get the signature signed, get the payment into the bank. So often in larger organizations that, and even some small organizations, they are so disconnected from marketing. And actually, if you can find out that the 99% of people or 60% of people phone us before that pre-sale and they say, can your service or product do this? If you tell the marketing people that, the marketing people can go, do you know what? Everyone complains about that on us and all of our competitors. And now we're going to change it. We're the only one that solved it. Suddenly you've got a USP, a differentiator. And so I think even giving people that advice, even though you're doing it so you don't get the returns, giving people that advice even post sale but before the product arrives, suddenly people are like, I know how to tie my shoes up. Oh, I don't actually. Now I've read your email and they've learned something. And that's all about, and we've spoken about so much when we talk about email marketing on the show, like it's about building that relationship. So you must find that the more educational content you send out, you must find that that has helped massively to that 4 times a year, 4 orders a year from some of your better customers, just by kind of closing that loop.
Yeah, and I think we can get even better at it. Like we can
Mm.
send emails that are even more personalized. So for example, someone that bought 20 pair of shoes and then suddenly is not buying anymore, we need
Yeah.
to create a special email for this person to reconnect with the person and try to understand why she
Yeah.
haven't bought after she bought 20 pairs. So I
Mm.
think I was talking with someone that work at Net-a-Porter or like one of the big fashion retailer, and she said
Yeah.
especially in IN the way she did the most money was to send personal emails to
Mm.
customers that would buy a lot but haven't bought in 6 months or a year.
Yep.
So they would send individual emails to this customer because it's worth spending on
Mm.
time and effort on this kind of customers.
Absolutely. And I think certainly when you get to that level as well, it's not probably not worth your time emailing people that have bought one of your cheaper pairs of sandals, just for some of the colder areas of Canada for those few months in the summer. It's probably not worth your time doing that. But then when you add up the time of, okay, this person, as you say, has bought 20 pairs of shoes, hasn't bought anything for however long, There'd be a certain timeline, amount of time. Send them an email, and suddenly they buy another 8, 9, 10 pairs of shoes over the next year or two. That's a lot cheaper than paying Google or Facebook for you to send that email than paying for advertising to hook someone else in. Let's talk about there's two other points. I'm just conscious of time. We've probably got about 10 minutes left on this, but there's 2 points I really want to cover, if we can, in that time. One is about your European direct to consumer, because that's quite exciting. Because obviously you're selling in the US and Canada predominantly at the moment, but you manufacture in Europe, and I know you're planning to sell in Europe. And then we can talk about new website. So tell us about what's the strategy for launching the European sales, and how easy was that decision, given that they're manufactured in Europe anyway? So they're crossing the Atlantic, and you don't want them to cross the Atlantic and cross back.
Yeah, so we in 2022 we incorporated a new business in the US. So we thought that the 10 next year of our growth would be in the US, and we were like, okay, let's just keep opening store. The US is pretty big, so we'll concentrate on that first, and then we'll go in Europe. But with the tariff, it made us like rethink everything. We realized with the everything that happened with the tariff, the euro versus Canadian dollar went from 1.5 to 1.6. So the euro is now really high for us, and most of our product we buy
Yeah.
them in euro. So we start thinking, okay, maybe if we do a bit of we would be able to do wholesale in Europe because our dollar is so low in Canada that it would be worth for us doing it, because DTC company, it's hard for us to do traditional wholesale. So we started
Yeah.
to think about traditional wholesale in Europe when that happened. And on top of it, because we produce in Europe, we wouldn't have all the tariff and duty problem that we have in the US, and we could edge the device, the euro, so be paid in euro, keep the euro in an account, and no matter what happened with the currency, we can still pay our production for Canada and US
Yeah.
store. So this is how it came out, that it was always a dream for us to open in Europe. And because we're producing in European factories, were really influenced and are designed by European product. So we were like, I think there's a natural fit for us there. So we're gonna try to start wholesale in fall next year. So you have to sell
Mm-hmm.
it like in Jan this year to be able to have your
Yep.
collection in a year. And once we have product in the wholesaler, because we can afford to open like a lot of stores in Europe, we want to see like which countries are interested in our product. Will it be the north because we have a similar weather, or is it more the south
Mm-hmm.
because we have sandals made in Spain? Like we'll see where it bites, and then from there we can start a strategy. So we'll make sure that maybe we open a 3PL in Europe to keep some products, so there's no VAT apply at the door of the customer, because right now we're not really set up to do online sell in Europe, and there's a way to set up the duties and the tax. So we're doing it with the new website. We're working on like including everything so that when the European customers buy from our site, there's no extra fees, because often what happens is they buy on our site because the price is really cheap when you convert in euro, but then at home there's an extra 40 euro of taxes, and then the customer
Mm.
doesn't want to pay it, so I have to bring back the pair in Canada, so I have to pay for the
Yeah.
transport in and out. So we don't want to encounter this kind of situation. So right now we're not doing any
Mm.
promotion in Europe, but we're looking to do it in the next, let's say, 6 months.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And I think, as you say, it's such a natural market given that the products are actually manufactured in Europe. And you've obviously got this new website on the way. What was the purpose behind the new website? Was it, as you mentioned earlier, about the sizing? Is it because of Europe? Is it because of something else? Is it a whole range of different bits of data you're looking at? Like, what's the drive to rebuild it? Because obviously, site rebuilds, they can be very expensive.
I actually, it's because we've done it in 2020. I think most of our pictures have like nude background, which cost a lot of money to make. So we want to
Hmm.
switch it for white background picture. So we had to redesign the entire site. So we feel at the moment that the site, like um, the side, I would say, aspect looks a bit like old millennial, when like pink was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
big and beige and all of that. So
Yep.
visually, we want it to be more neutral. And I'm an old millennial, so I can say that it looks like old millennial.
I'm a
But
millennial as well. I might not look like it, but yeah, I am.
so basically, like the design aspect for us is really important. So always having like fresh design for us is important. And also, a
Mm,
lot of people have a hard time checking out. They can't find like the waitlist. Like the waitlist button is really small, so there's a lot of UX UI design that needs to be improved.
mhm.
And we feel our conversion rate has gone down, so we feel it's going to help the conversion rate also on the website. So there's like, and we
Yeah,
want to add like features that didn't exist in 2020. So for example, we want customers to see where the shoes are available in which store, because a lot of people call us to know, do you have the size 40 at your Toronto
mm,
store? So if they can see it on the website, it saves a call for a team, or it saves an email for a team. So that's a common question we
yeah,
have. So yeah, because people, when they come in store, they want to make sure that the size they want is there for an event or for something special. So there's a lot of feature we want to add, and the site is a bit heavy, I think. So in SEO, we'll try to make it lighter. And in terms of
yeah, yeah.
costs, we last time we worked with an agency, and it was a bit more costly. But this time, the guy that designed our website in the agency is a freelancer now. So we're working with
Mm,
two freelancer. So one freelancer that
yeah,
does
yeah.
the
Nice.
design, and one freelancer that will do the programmation. So I would say this is the most effective cost, in terms of costs, to do your
Yeah, yeah,
website. So we find a way to do it in like a really effective way, and I think it's possible
yeah, yeah.
today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got, it's smiling because we've got about 5 freelancers we know who used to be ex big agencies. So we don't build sites ourselves, but we bring in people that have been there and done it, and everything from I'll buy a theme and then modify it for what you want, right the way up to complete custom build design. And I find it tends to be you need an agency more when you're bigger, and actually there's more communication going on. There's more stakeholders. There's more people with skin in the game. And I think probably the worst web build we did from a kind of project management perspective was about 80 to 90% of all the costs just went on communication and project management internally. And actually the site build looked beautifully clean and minimal at the end of it, but there were so many things to consider to get onto the site. And eventually someone quite senior said, look, I'm so bored of all of this, just cut all of that, just put the simple thing out, get the new site live, and we'll put more money behind advertising if we have to. And it was the best decision anyone had made after about 18 months of pain. So I mean, it sounds amazing. And I want to first and foremost say thank you so much for your time and also your honesty, telling us about some of the challenges you've been through, where you guys are at. If anyone's listening to this and thinking, this sounds amazing, Myriam, I really want to check out the brand, I want to follow you guys. What's the website URL? How can people follow you on socials? How can they get in touch? How can they find the shoes if they want to buy a pair and try them themselves?
Yes, so you can find us at maguireshoes.com, and our handle on Instagram and TikTok is Maguire Shoes. So on all the platform, we're Maguire Shoes.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all your time, your honesty, and also thank you for jumping on the show. And as I said right at the start, giving me so many notes to talk about as well. It was nice to know what was coming, and certainly some of the things we've spoken about, I think, will be really beneficial. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Amazing, and we might get you back on in the show in the next year or two, Miriam, and see how things are progressing, see how Europe's going for you once things have settled down with all the tariffs. For everybody else listening at home, thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back on Tuesday. Well, I'll be back on Tuesday with my Tuesday tea break talks, and surprise, what cup of tea am I going to be drinking this week, and what news we're going to talk about from Shopify. Back again on Friday with our main episodes. If you haven't already, and you are listening to this on Apple iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a comment on Spotify if you're on there. I've been replying to the comments. And also give us a little review and follow if you could as well. I've realized our reviews are quite out of date, but there's literally tens of thousands of you guys tuning in every week. So leave us a little review because it helps other people find the show as well. Thanks for tuning in. We're back again on Tuesday. Our partners at Seguno have released a brand new app for Shopify, and it's called Shopify Connect for Canva. You can essentially look at all of your product images from Shopify directly in Canva and export them straight back. This can save you a lot of time. If you want to find out a bit more about this or go and find the app yourself, you can go to seguno.com/Canva. Enjoy.